Meet Acorn the Mischievous Squirrel with dreams of stardom and a taste for danger. In the yard by the house, in a tree oh so tall, lived a squirrel named Acorn, who had seen no snowfall. Born in the spring, a baby so shy he'd peek from the branches then quickly dart by. But as the months passed and the weather grew cool, Acorn grew bolder, and boy, did he rule. With his brother named Nutty and sister called Hazel, they dashed through the trees in a game like a fable. From fence top to treetop they'd scurry with glee, playing chase, hide and seek as wild as could be. But Acorn, you see, had a flair for the grand. He'd strike a fine pose like a squirrel who had planned. One day in the yard, on a pumpkin so round, he stood there so proudly, not making a sound. As if in a movie, or perhaps on TV, he puffed out his chest for the world to see. "Oh, Acorn," said Donna, "the kind neighbor dear, you love to be seen and you show no fear." Each day she would feed them, her squirrel family, with peanuts and seeds and sometimes corn for free. But Acorn, so daring, was more than a ham. He'd tempt fate with Missy, that big dog next door. "Wham! Catch me if you can!" he'd taunt with a dash, then leap to the fence in a lightning-fast flash. Missy, a dog full of sweet, playful fun, would wag her big tail and then start to run. But oh, there were times when Acorn, too bold, would feel her hot breath. His courage turned cold. With a bound, just in time, he'd scurry up a tree. But once or twice, Missy caught a bit of fur, you see. Donna would laugh. "Acorn, you're too brave." But danger would come. With a shadow so wide, a hawk soaring high with its sharp eyes so spied. Acorn knew better, no need for a dare. When the red-tailed hawk circled, it was time to beware. "Quick!" he'd signal, with a chirp and a squeak, warning Nutty and Hazel to hide and not peek. They'd scramble and scurry beneath the deck's wood, where Acorn would join them. Yes, that's where he stood. But even in danger, our Acorn was sly. He'd still keep an eye on the hawk in the sky. For in his brave heart, though danger was clear, Acorn worried more for his family so dear. When the hawk flew away, it was back to the fun, back to the trees, the chase, and the run. Then to the pool toys he'd sneak and play, pretending the floats were props for his day. For Acorn, you see, was no ordinary squirrel. He dreamed of the spotlight, his grand chance to twirl. An Oscar, a Globe, perhaps even more. Acorn the actor, the squirrel we adore. Now, Nutty and Hazel, they had no such dreams. They were happy just playing, or so it seems. They'd chase and they'd scurry, just squirrels through and through, while Acorn would strike a grand pose or two. "Acorn, stop acting!" they'd sometimes shout, but Acorn would grin and prance all about. Up on the fence or down by the pool, he'd leap with a flourish. He thought he was cool. But one day by the fire pit, when the flame was quite high, Acorn got too close, almost starting to fry. With Jim and with Dave laughing nearby, Donna exclaimed, "Acorn, don't even try!" Quick as a flash, he dashed up the tree. The fire was hot, but he was still free. A bit too bold, Acorn thought with a blink. Maybe, just maybe, I should stop and think. But thinking was dull and acting was grand, so he ran off again, making one final stand. For Acorn was brave, and though danger was near, he loved every moment, even the fear. As the autumn days passed, the winds did grow cold, but Acorn was fearless, lively, and bold. While Nutty and Hazel began to prepare, hiding their food with careful squirrel care, Acorn had peanuts, oh how he'd stash. In the yard, in the trees, even under the trash. He buried his treasures in places galore, not just for him but for winter and more. Yet deep down inside, in his tiny squirrel heart, he knew he was destined for a much bigger part. For Acorn the star was bound for the stage, though still just a youngster, not even one age. One day soon, in the snow or the sun, Acorn would be famous, the only one. He'd act and he'd dance, all creatures would cheer, the brave little squirrel who had nothing to fear. But for now, the backyard was where he would play, with Donna and Dave watching every day, Jim by the fire with Missy nearby, and Acorn the actor leaping so high. And so ends this tale of Acorn so spry, with dreams that soared just as high as the sky. With Nutty and Hazel, his family so dear, and Donna, who fed them with love every year. Acorn still poses each day with great flair, on pumpkins and trees. He's a star everywhere. He teases poor Missy and outsmarts Jim too, and every day brings some mischief brand new. But in all his adventures, his close calls and leaps, Acorn remembers the love that he keeps. For fame is exciting and acting's a thrill, but family and friends are what matters still. So as autumn leaves fall and the season grows old, Acorn will face winter with courage so bold. For the star of this yard, with his bright shining light, will always find joy in the day and the night. And who knows, one day, in the sky up so blue, you might just see Acorn, and he'll wave to you too.